Well, here we go. I'm ready. Hopefully you're ready too. Now, there is a lot of me that feels like there's probably not going to be any huge new revelations. But then there's part of me that, well, gets to announce to you that Hakeem Jeffries has now been implicated and people are already calling for him to step down. The Democrats overplayed their hands and now it is backfiring on them. Now, I will not be surprised if later this week or whenever the files actually come out, or maybe it's later today, I won't be surprised if there are Republicans named in these emails. I think everybody in Washington is scummy. But this is pretty interesting. So the vote just passed. Let's get you all up to date. By the way, just want to let you guys know, I have a couple, I have like 300 each of these cookbooks that I did. These holiday Christmas cookbook and the Mega Mixology and then the original cookbook. I put them all for sale on my website, justthequartering.com/shop. Once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not ordering more, but they are the perfect stocking stuffer. There's the perfect last minute gift, or if you need a white elephant gift or whatever. I'm going to ship them all on or before December 1st. So get your order in today. Make sure you have it in plenty of time for Christmas. Off the island, the House votes to force the files release, but Johnson urges, quote, the Senate to correct issues. Now, I don't want the Senate getting involved at all. Just release the dang things, right? The House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly Tuesday to compel the release of the federal investigative materials on Mr. Jeffrey. Speaker Mike Johnson urged the Senate to, quote, correct the bill and provide, quote, proper protections for the innocent. No. I think at this point, collateral damage is just going to be what it is. The problem is, and I agree that this is not a great situation, but unfortunately, if there are any, or, you know, an inordinate amount of, you know, retractions or redactions, I don't really know that you will satiate. There will be a group of people, 5 to 10% of them, that will just never be satisfied, especially, for example, like, where's all the security footage? Where's all the CDs, the hard drives, all this stuff? We're probably never getting that. But the Files Transparency Act, which was introduced by Representatives Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, would also order Attorney General Pam Bondi to deliver a list of government officials and other politically exposed persons linked to Jeffrey within 15 days of receiving the president's signature. Republicans are letting the facts speak for themselves and pursuing justice for those who are on the receiving ends of these heinous crimes. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer told the Post before accusing Democrats of using Jeffrey's victims as political leverage against President Trump and others. Clay Higgins was the only lawmaker who voted against it, while 5 others were absent. We need to look into Clay Higgins. Why did he vote against it? He's literally the only person. I think it was like 420 to 1. I have been principled on a no from the beginning, he said. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. Higgins said in a statement posted to X, it abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America as written. The bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. And that is true. You're going to have people that have already privately had to answer, for maybe being mentioned in the email or, you know, whatever the case is. Like, that's a thing. Now, unfortunately, they're going to have to publicly answer for it. But I would argue that they know what they already answered for, and they should probably be ready to issue a statement. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to the rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Not by my vote, he added. The Oversight Committee conducting a thorough investigation. This already released well over 60,000 pages of documents in the case. The effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent people. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for the bill when it comes back to the House, he also said. Well, I don't think they need to change anything. Just pass it as is. I don't think anybody wants to step on that turd. Nobody wants that stink on their shoe. They do not want to be the ones voting no at this point. The Democrats have put themselves essentially in a position now where they cannot vote no, because they have been for the past several weeks using this as a cudgel against Donald Trump. So if now they change their tune and suddenly are like, well, wait a minute now, we got to worry about people's privacy, they're going to have gone to that well one too many times. While Trump said Monday he was willing to sign the discharge petition in its current form, Johnson warned Tuesday that it could carelessly dump thousands of documents without proper protections for the innocent. It's dangerously flawed. Johnson told reporters on Capitol Hill, you have to release it. You have to release it. I understand and even agree that there's going to be collateral damage here. And that sucks. But here's what sucks even more. The federal government, and stick with me on this, has spent the last 50 days basically either shut down or worrying about Epstein stuff. Okay? What haven't they been doing over the past 60 days? They have not been ratifying Trump's executive orders. They haven't been doing anything about the extremely high cost of food. They haven't done anything about the cost of gasoline. They haven't done anything about the beef cost. They haven't done anything. I mean, they've done some things, but you get what I'm saying. They're not voting to help make the economy better, which everyone's going to be talking about at Thanksgiving dinner and at Christmas dinner. So we already had this shutdown fiasco go for 45 days or whatever it totally was. Then we spent the next 2 weeks on Epstein. If we spend another week on that, you guys, like, the midterm elections are in a year. The election cycle is going to start in January or February already. So we just don't have the luxury of having a ton of time to be quibbling back and forth on this, or Trump's going to lose the majority. And the last 2 years of his presidency is going to be like the last years of his presidency last time, constantly getting impeached and getting literally nothing done. I don't want that to happen again. I am going to volunteer for like TPUSA to make sure I'm canvassing, make sure I'm, motivating people to vote. I'm going to do everything I can, but this has to get through. I actually believe that the Democrats brought this up because they knew it was another way to delay the government for yet another month, right? Yet another month. It was 427 yay to 1 nay, by the way. Update, Thune is now saying he does not believe it will be amended. This means it will go straight to the president's desk. That's what I want. I think this is such a hot potato now that you just have to get rid of it. Oh, by the way, Clay Higgins is now calling for Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, the one that was texting back and forth with Jeffrey, to be investigated by the Department of Justice and Ethics Committee after she was caught texting Jeffrey. He also calls on her to be removed from committees and assignment. Higgins was also the only no on releasing the files today.
She's a good lady from the Virgin Islands. Where did Jeffrey Epstein live? In the Virgin Islands. She was a constituent in 2019. Was she a friend in 2007?
Probably.
During her service to the DOJ, which my friend has brought up, was there any interactions? These are the questions we have. The good lady from the Virgin Islands has crossed the threshold of reasonable suspicion.
I agree.
And therefore, she should be investigated. During said investigation by ethics, and I would recommend by DOJ, and I would recommend by oversight and judiciary committees. Meanwhile, she should absolutely be removed from the House Select Committee on Intel.
I agree. By the way, how about this? We've got Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries solicited money from Ped Jeffrey in 2013. By the way, this is after he was already convicted in 2009. Here is an email from, it looks like from Lisa Rossi. Subject, Rising Star. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in New York congressional delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. He is a staunch supporter of Obama and a progressive voice for the people of New York City. New York's 1st District did a profile piece of his work here. Hakeem is committed to electing Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in the DCCC and DSCC fundraiser dinner. Thanks, Darren Rigger, Lisa Rossi, and Walter Sweat. I mean, the question is, did Jeffrey send money? Luke Rodowski, Hakeem should step down. Did he get money? If so, how much? What did Jeffrey get in exchange for that? This is, I mean, they're all in on it, I'm sure. Right now, we have a second Democrat implicated negatively by the release of these files. Where are all the files that were supposed to implicate Trump? Right? Where are all those files? Where are they? They weren't there. I've been telling you guys, my beautiful viewers, that they weren't there. Katie Couric faces criticism for hanging out with Jeffrey. Uh-oh, Katie Couric. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The media. Thune suggests Senate could pass a bill today. Senate due to pass it today, which means it could be on Trump's desk tonight, which means we could be doing an emergency live stream tonight. This is crazy. Make sure you keep it locked in here. You subscribe. You turn on your notifications. If it gets to Trump's desk tonight, we're going live, boys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. Don't forget thequartering.com/shop. There's only a couple hundred, so they're going to sell out in probably a week or two. Pick yours up today. They're going to ship on or before December 1st. They're hilarious, great gifts, and we'll talk to you again real soon.